And we're here. We're back. It is the Astrology Livestream. My name is Nick Dagan Best. The guy at the top corner is Patrick Watson. And introducing at the bottom corner, the lovely, the talented, the sensational John Streaker. Say hi to the astrology community, John.
Hey, how are you guys doing today?
All right. We're doing
S-
good. How are you doing, Watson?
I'm doing great. It's really good to be back. We're not back all the way, but we had
Just the
to
tip.
come back. Just the tip. We had to come back for this announcement, and you'll see why as we kind of unveil what we've been working on. As you know, um, I haven't. I've actually been on a hiatus from clients. The whole astrology live stream has been on hiatus for a little while, and it's because of what we've been working on with John Streaker. So I feel like we need to tell you the story of like who John is and how we kind of all came together, and like why and how this project that we've been working on sort of came about. So I hope you don't mind if I introduce you a little bit, John, here.
No, go
Feel
ahead. You're
free
fine.
to add on whatever you want.
Yeah.
But John, obviously John is an unknown person in the astrological community, but John is an extremely adept astrologer. He's a private student. He's been a private student of the astrological legend Robert Hand for several years. And while he's not a professional astrologer in terms of being a practicing astrologer, accepting money for readings like a professional astrologer, he is still an astrologer in the sense of using astrology in everyday life. That's what I think an astrologer is, right? And so I feel like, by any measurement, John, through, my conversations with him and our work together, is very much proved that he is, is quite an advanced um, student of astrology, if nothing else. But the particular thing that John has been able to sort of help us break through. If you've been watching the astrology live stream with me and Nick since last summer, you'll know that we have been doing more experiments with basically trying to figure out how to utilize this revolutionary technology of AI and apply it to astrology. As you know, back in November 2022, OpenAI released ChatGPT, and for a lot of people, that was the first time they had this sort of contact with this technology. I know for me, it was certainly around that time or early in 2023. And as soon as I sort of saw what this technology was capable of, I immediately had visions of like what this could do for astrological interpretation and analysis. And so by the spring of 2023, Nick and I were working on installing ChatGPT for all on our computers, and we actually had help from Renee Oshop, who got us up and running with a small version of a local AI that could actually let us talk to Valens. It was crude, it was rudimentary, but we knew that it was important. And as we kept working with this technology, I was able to use ChatGPT to create a script which would actually generate the times of Venus heliacal risings in multiple places all at once. And it allowed us to create the first visual depiction of heliacal phenomena as a global phenomenon. Now, in the whole background to all of this, everything you saw on the live stream with me and Nick on the summer of 2023, John had actually been my client since 2021. And our sessions often went way past the scheduled time because we just found we had so much to talk about. We our minds just really connected. Um we just really, I feel like we just really understood each other and really kind of appreciated each other's knowledge and expertise. And I was very, very impressed, by John's command of the subject. And eventually, we sort of figured out that like by about September 2023, we really needed to move on from the astrologer client relationship, and we decided we really needed to move forward as like collaborators. We knew that we could do something cool together because we both have this interest in making AI and astrology work for us. So this is another thing that John, the multi-talented John Streecker, is able to do. He's an award-winning coder or programmer or script writer, whatever you'd like to call it. An awarded one for TradingView, I believe. And he has a similar instinct that I do, which is when in astrology, this happens quite a lot, that you come up against a problem and there's actually no tool to investigate it. There's no tool that exists yet to answer the questions that you have. And Nick has come up against this problem too, where there's only so far we can go, with the current tools that we have, and we need something else. And John, has the technical expertise to help bring this to reality. I was kind of cheating with ChatGPT, but like John actually knows how to do this stuff. So, I say all this to say that, basically in December, I finally decided, wait a sec, Nick needs to know about this guy. So like I introduced John and Nick, and we realized we were going to work really well together. And in January, we actually have a specific date and time to do this in January of 2024, January 18th, 2024, we formed Thema Mundi Technologies, which is a new astrology software company, which is dedicated to delivering and producing and developing the next generation of astrology software, and incorporating the power of AI technology to help astrologers do more than they ever could before, and to realize previously unimagined possibilities. So, just to give you an idea of the crude state of my early experiments with AI, I can share with you a little bit of what I did. My first script making a form of AI that would be able to potentially interact with the Swiss ephemeris was this. Can you see that? So this is my little script, and I wrote, "Where is Mercury at 11:34 a.m. on October 31st, 2023 in Saginaw?" And the AI responded, "At 11:34 a.m. on October 31st, 2023, Mercury will be in the constellation of Libra, not Saginaw." So my first interaction with the ephemeris was it being a smartass, basically. And
Awesome.
but it got better because I was able to, and again, I'm not someone who actually knows exactly how to code, but I was able to do this with AI. I was able to ask it, when was Mars retrograde in Sagittarius in the 20th century? And so it was able to understand that by 20th century, I was talking about from 1900 to 1999, the end of the year. And it correctly lists out the dates that Mars was retrograde in Sagittarius. You can immediately understand what the potentials might be for this. Here, I can share the actual image of that so you can actually see it. Were you able to see that? So
now, yes.
Yeah, so this is like one of my just early experiments with this, but I was able to get it to actually read the ephemeris, so you can see what the potentials of this might be. Where instead of needing to be a human ephemeris like me and Nick, or Nick and myself, well, I maybe more like Nick than myself, but you don't.
You're a human ephemeris.
I'm in that
so
same I'm in the same species, of human ephemerides. And you can see how no longer, with this technology, it will be possible to be able to dynamically reference things that you otherwise would have to remember or take the time to look up. So you can see how this would have the possibility of becoming kind of the ultimate astrological assistant. Here's another example where I asked for the positions of the planets on August 14th, 1968, and that just happens to be Nick Dagan Best's birth date, and so it produced the positions of the planets on that day. Or correctly, I might add.
Yeah.
So I'm just showing you this because like this is kind of like where it started, but we have reached a kind of important threshold, which we think has importance for the entire astrological community in developing a truly advanced astrological AI which will be capable of the kinds of analysis which astrologers themselves are able to do, as well as go beyond. Now, I should emphasize that what we have currently is the early version. There might still be issues here. We're not ready. This is not for public
This is
consumption.
a demo.
This is a demo
We're-
today.
We're going to offer a demo. We have a small chunk of the whole work completed, and we're going to show you that work which is so far completed,
And-
which is by no means the majority of it.
And this is tedious work. This is tedious work because we're not scraping
But
this
exciting.
from. It's amazing. We're not scraping this from, books. We're not scraping people's copyrighted works. We're writing it out ourselves from our knowledge, from our education, and it takes a long time. Who'd have thought, yeah, you actually need to hire astrologers to write LLMs. You can't, this isn't something you can just ask of a programmer. This is something that comes from having that knowledge and having that expertise. That really the knowledge itself, the data itself is the most important. So thankfully, John is one of these rare individuals that kind of bridges both of these worlds, of being very facile in astrology, but also in its technological description and in its coding and programming. So everyone should absolutely know who John Streaker is, because he is just a diamond in the rough and an unknown gem of the astrological community. And he is
Why, thank you.
he is through our company that we formed, we are really hoping to advance astrological software to a new dimension. So with that,
Without further ado,
what do we call this AI, John? What is the name of it?
John, before you start speaking, can you point your microphone at your mouth because it's not picking you up?
Okay, sorry, hold on. I tried to switch it due to a comment that I saw from the Astrology podcast. Have his switched. So 1 second.
But I think it's not. It doesn't seem to be pointed at your mouth, so it's not picking you up.
All right, hold on.
Oh yeah, it like right now it's like
it looks like it's like at this angle. It should
but
be.
you could do that.
How's that?
That's great.
That's much better. That's
Okay.
much better. Thank
Awesome.
you. All right. So, sorry that was somewhat anticlimactic, but I wanted everyone to be able to hear John from the get-go.
It was
So
necessary.
John, why don't you introduce our friend?
What I wanted to say was, just to backtrack a little, the AI is named after the overall project we're doing here. The main thing that we're doing is we're creating the next generation of astrology software. We're, like Patrick said, we're looking to bring astrology software into the 21st century. And the name of our software is Nechepso. And that is also the name of the AI. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's something we've been working on for a while. Now you guys know why Patrick and Nick have had to have limited time doing other things, because as Patrick said, it's a very tedious process. You have to write all this stuff out. I mean, you don't have to. Technically, you could use any data you want, but in order to do it the correct way, in order to do it the ethical way, that's how it needs to be done. So Nechepso, yes. Now, let me get fired up over here real quick.
So while you're doing that, I'll just explain that if you don't know already, Nechepso is considered to be one of the founders of I guess you could say the astrological tradition, as it's known, in the sort of Babylonian to transmission to Greece and well, actually, he's an Egyptian pharaoh.
Not the
at
Babylonian, but the horoscopic astrology.
Yeah, so the dawn of horoscopic astrology, right? And he often worked with Pedicyrus, and they, were kind of students under Hermes Trismegistus. So we just like the name Nechepso, but it is a big tip of the hat to this sort of early forerunner of astrologers.
Okay, let me see something real quick.
Okay, so John's going to give us a demonstration. We, like we said, we've got a chunk of the work done so far, which is what we want to show you today. And John's going to show you everything good there, John? Is it up and running?
Yeah, give me one moment. I'm trying to
Okay. All right.
trying to figure something out, how I'm going to do something real quick. Hold on.
All right.
Yeah.
Rustum says on YouTube, so you're basically coding Nick's brain. I've sometimes joked that it should be called Nechepso.
Yeah. Actually, Susan Hopkinson is asking a sensible question. Susan's asking, so far the AI experience has been about scraping data from websites across the web, and there is only an amalgamation of data without creating anything new. How is this software different? Well, Patrick did answer that a minute ago. The answer to that is that we are not scraping the internet. We are writing this from scratch. We are Patrick and I are and John, we're writing the data from scratch and not just copying out of books or scraping it from websites. So it is an original product and will be an original product.
Also, because large data sets, from I guess the AI experience so far has just been more generalized types of information because it's dragging it from such far flung out sources. But what we're doing is very different because it's a very specialized and very focused knowledge base. And so that is another thing that I think will make us very different. And even a lot of astrology AI apps already out there, very unfortunately, haven't made the same kind of human investment that's really necessary to make this kind of technology work at its sort of optimal potential.
All right, so I need to just put this out there real quick. On Zoom, you have the ability to select a crop window for the screen, which we can't do.
Oh yeah, no, you don't have that option.
I say that to say this. I'm going to share this window. Please don't go to the link. If you don't try to replicate the link, because if you do, you're going to overload the GPU and then no more demo. So let's just put that out there. But that's all I was trying to figure out, if I could handle that a different way. It turns out negative. So here we are.
Okay. There's your screen.
Okay, so everybody sees everything. Let me go through this. So just to explain some of the stuff real quick with this, as they stated, this stuff isn't entirely complete as far as the data sets it's been trained on. So far up to this point, I wrote a good portion of the data on the traditional astrology. It's been history is another thing that we did with it, among some other things. But there's a lot of data out there that we still have to write and put in here. But just to give you an example, like history-wise, there's some examples loaded up here already. What could you tell me about William Lilly? And, it gives you your answer here. Betty Valens, the history side of it is, I guess, not what's really exciting right now. I'm sure that everybody would rather prefer I refreshed it. Prefer to see what it actually can do. So we'll start kind of easy here. I'm just going to give it a simple question. Who is the ruler of Leo? Let's see what it says. And it should respond pretty quickly.
It'll respond to who or what is the ruler.
Yeah. In traditional astrology, Leo is governed by the sun, which endows the sign with characteristic warmth, stability. You guys can, read the answer.
It's very hard to see. It's very small. That's the problem. There's no way to expand the window on your end, is there?
Yeah, I can zoom it in like this.
Yeah, that would be better. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
that's better.
Is that better? Okay.
Yep,
so
it
That
is.
better. Yeah. Thank
all
you.
right, cool. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna just go through some questions, like asking about dignities and stuff. I want you guys to be able to actually see like what it can do. Like a lot of this stuff right here, like even Chat GPT knows who the ruler of Leo is, right? So throw a little sort of trick-ish sort of question at it. We'll ask it what the exaltation lord of Leo is, being Leo doesn't have one. And
Okay.
wait, it's going to give an error.
All right, so you can see it takes a little while to cook on this particular demoing platform.
I don't know what that was. It did something right here. Okay, so
There we are.
it went through. I don't know what that was about.
Yeah,
in the
but it
context,
knows it.
also, yeah, this is a demo provided by Gradio. So Gradio is not without its bugs and stuff as well. In the context of traditional astrology, Leo does not have an exaltation lord or ruler, which is correct.
That's correct.
Yeah, so it's not hallucinating. It's not inventing answers that it doesn't have. It either knows the answer or it knows that there is no answer when there isn't one.
All right, we'll change up the wording a little bit. What's the domicile lord of Cancer? See what it says. The moon's domicile lord. That's correct. Can you tell me the domicile and exaltation lords of Virgo? This, once again, it's the same planet, so trying to throw it a curveball here. See what it says.
Now, keep in mind, the Nechepso AI, this is just one feature of the software that was also called Nechepso. This is just the chatbot component. This is only the AI component, which will be much more powerful and robust, obviously, for the full software. But the full software will be akin to what you might see using an app like Solarfire or Luna. Yeah, but better, but better than all those.
Significantly better. So yeah, you see right here, I asked it about the Virgo, and it correctly identified that Mercury's domicile and exaltation lord there. Let's see. Okay,
we can get a little more sophisticated now.
It gives you the exaltation degree as well, which is quite interesting. So it sort of recognizes how certain concepts are related. Not only that there's a sign, but degree.
Okay. Well,
I mean, just kind of easing into this before I get into some more of the advanced stuff. But yeah, you can see just a basic domicile exaltation. It didn't get tripped up on there not being an exaltation lord, nor it understood, hey, Mercury is the domicile and exaltation lord of Virgo, and then also it correctly identifies the exaltation degrees in both of its answers as well. So from there, let's move into something a bit more difficult. Who are the triplicity lords of Sagittarius? Let's see what it says.
There are some astrologers who might not immediately be able to remember that. Sometimes it can get a little tricky when you first.
In the context of traditional astrology, the triplicity lords of Sagittarius are the Sun, serving as the main triplicity lord or trigon lord during the day. Jupiter takes on the role of the night, and Saturn is the cooperating lord. It also points out Jupiter is a domicile lord, and additionally, that Sagittarius does not have an exaltation lord. Knock that out the park. All right, so
pretty good.
Let's get it even crazier, shall we?
Ashwin's Astrology just said on YouTube, only question I have is, when can we buy this?
Using the Egyptian
way to cut to the chase, Ashwin. What? No foreplay?
Ashwin, we don't have a set date, but we will discuss that. Yeah, when the time comes.
I also want to say while we're discussing this right here, what we're doing today, this is the first of a series of a bunch of announcements that are going to happen here within the next few months, I should say.
Yeah.
This is we're just getting started. There is a lot of really big and significant things in the pipeline coming.
We are Karen Carpenter, and we have only just begun.
So I'm going to throw it something a little tougher now. Using the Egyptian bounds, who's the ruler of the final degrees, 26 to 30 degrees in the sign of Sagittarius. I'm using that particular area because
John, you're going to go crazy with the Egyptian bounds.
I'm using. I just happen to know that off the top of my head because Sagittarius is a special place for me.
Well, I mean, all right. To be fair, it's either gonna be Mars or Saturn for most of the signs, but knowing which one obviously is important.
Well, you're an astrologer. This is a.
Yeah, this is a.
That's right.
Let's see. In the context of the division within the Egyptian bounds, the final segment is under the dominion of Mars, and look at that. It actually includes the delineation from Vedic Valens describing those bounds as well.
Dang.
Not too bad.
Wow.
So let's.
Not too bad, John.
This is getting crazy.
Nice job.
Yeah. Now.
All right. So now let's take it up another notch. Can you
another notch? Are you mad?
Can you list?
Surely we've hit the limit.
The Egyptian bounds for the sign. Oops. For the sign of Pisces. So give me all the bounds now. You knew that one, like Patrick said, there's either Saturn or Mars. So let's see if you can just do a whole sign. That'd be great if you could.
Can you do it, Nechepso? Can you?
I don't even know if I would be able to get that correct.
And traditional astrology, Pisces is divided each segment. Let's see. Oh, characterized by Vedic Valens. Venus rules 0 to 12, Jupiter 12 to 16, Mercury 16 to 19. This is all correct. Yes.
Wow.
There's the bounds of Pisces for us. So bounds is cool. I tested
ChatGPT on that question, and it got it completely wrong. It just completely hallucinated. So saying, this actually outperforms ChatGPT on some of these things.
Capricorn. Let's try it on decans now. Can you list the decans of Capricorn? Let's just see what it says. What you got for me, Nechepso? Let's see. In traditional astrology, the decans of Capricorn are defined by the rulership of specific planets from the Chaldean and triplicity systems. So it knows both systems. Wow.
It knows both.
The first decan is a Jupiter-Saturn combination, the second Mars-Venus, and the third Sun-Mercury. That is all correct. It actually knows both of the decan systems and combines them. Not bad.
That is not bad.
What about a specific decan, though, right? Can you provide me with the rulership? Oops, I can't spell. Rulership of the middle decan of Aquarius. Get a little more detailed here. Let's see what you got.
So keep in mind, too, that when you're using the chatbot on the Nechepso software, it's not just going to look like this. You can calculate a chart in the software and then ask the chatbot information about what is in that chart. So, if this seems a little like looking up definitions in a dictionary, just think ahead a little more. Try to imagine a little further along where you can use this type of interface to essentially talk with the chart that you've just cast.
The way it's going to work in the software is it's going to have direct access to any chart that you're viewing at any given time. You can ask it things about, if you load up a chart, it'll likely have an area where you can select the chart that you want it to discuss with it. There's a lot of really cool AI features that we plan on incorporating in the software. One of them is long-term memory, where it will be able to remember your past conversations, unlike ChatGPT and other LLMs. And part of this that we're also talking about adding is like a journal. And I think the best way I could describe this would be like, let's say today, it's May 7th. I'd put in my journal, hey, we did this big reveal. Yay. And in the future, whenever I would ask Nechepso about, hey, what's this transit look like I have coming up. It would actually be able to access my journal and see the type of events and how they're connected to specific, configurations and how they directly affect you, and incorporate that in its delineation of your personal experience. So pretty
So
cool.
imagine you're a kid, like say 10 years old, and you get Nechepso, on your device, and you start learning astrology with it. By the time you're 40 or 50, it really knows how your chart responds to Mars transits and Saturn transits, and the longer you're with it, the better it knows you, the better it knows your astrology.
I do want to answer this question I see in the chat. Will this be available on Apple or Microsoft-based computers? Unlike other softwares that have come out, this will be available on every type of operating system. We're going to have it where you'll be able to use it on Apple and Windows, and I might even make a Linux version for fun. I don't know. So
why the hell not?
This is John,
right?
by the way. This is who John is. We'll make a Linux version, just
to say that we have it, right? So anyway, back to the question I asked: if it could provide the rulership of the middle decan of Aquarius, will this? Well, hold on. Will this be available on PC and cell phone? Cell phone's a good thing. It will have a mobile companion app that will be very capable. The way I'm picturing this is, imagine you want to save a chart on your phone. You're watching TV. You're like, oh God, I need to save that. You save a chart on your phone. It will be able to link to your software on your computer, and you'll be able to go upstairs or, to your office or wherever, pull it up, and it will, through cloud syncing, it'll be able to connect charts you save on your phone directly with the software on your computer, and vice versa. So that's a pretty good question to ask. Anyway, back to the question, the middle decan of Aquarius. It says that the middle decan is uniquely governed by Mercury, as it is the only decan to feature Mercury as its ruler in both Chaldean and Triplicity systems, resulting in a Mercury decan. This decan is distinguished by a singular Mercury rulership, which sets it apart from the other decans in Aquarius, and by extension, the entire zodiac, marking it as the sole Mercury decan, and that is 100% correct.
What is amazing about that answer is the fact that not only does it just know functionally that Mercury rules the decans in both of those systems, but also that makes it unique. And also that makes it special. And it's so funny because, you hear some people sometimes try to say that like Mercury is exalted in Aquarius. Well, maybe not. But aside, in addition to having Trigon rulership, it also has this unique position of ruling both decans, but that same decan in both systems. So there's I just think that is kind of mind blowing. That
there's the math,
so that it understands that,
kind of gets that.
That's a whole other
Yeah.
Sarah Hartshorn, I just want to interject because this is a really great comment. Sarah Hartshorn says, well, it will be nice to have an AI that doesn't give you a snarky side comment about astrology not being legitimate. Hell yes, sister. You got it. No, this Nechepso, maybe in its developed stage, will have snarky comments to make about your outfit or your haircut, but it will never be snarky about astrology. This is a product that's absolutely designed to get the premium quality of any sort of variety of astrology you choose to pursue or investigate.
I also want to point out Ursula's comment on YouTube. She says, please take my money. And then in a different comment says, please. Thank you very much for your excitement.
The time will come. The time will come. We will be taking your money if you're
now another person
interested you.
Right. Trab says on YouTube, he says your own personal astrologer. I would say that it's probably more akin to being your own personal astrological assistant. I don't think this replaces the role of an astrologer. I think this just augments what an astrologer is already capable of. So I think that's an important distinction to draw. Anyway, sorry.
It will be able to make certain distinctions, though, in the personal module of the software. I think that might be what he was talking about with the journal.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. That's true.
That's probably what he was referring to.
Yeah. No, exactly. That eventually it compiles information and it knows a lot about you. After decades.
Back on this demo over here, I'm gonna get so decans and bounds, that's cool, but 12 parts, a lot of people don't even know these really it's so many of them. How can you know them all off the top of your head? I mean, it's easy if you start and mentally with the sign and do 2.5 degrees, but whatever.
Yeah.
I want to see.
Catamoria.
I want to see if Nechepso can list all the 12 parts of Leo. That'd be kind of cool if it could, because that's kind of an obscure thing to know. So let's see what it says.
There you go.
It gives you the order. It tells you the starts with Leo itself and sequentially moves through the zodiac signs every 2.5 degrees. So yes, it does actually know the 12 parts.
That's
So what can we do that's more specific than that? I got an idea. I'd like to know who is the Monomoria Lord at 28 degrees of Sagittarius. You got it for me. These are pretty obscure things to know. So let's see.
ChatGPT could never.
Yeah. In context of traditional astrology, for a planet or point located at 28 degrees of Sagittarius, the Monomoria degree ruler, according to Chaldean order, is Jupiter. I know this for a fact because this is where my sun is located. That's why I use this easy-to-use example. However, when applying the triplicity rulership system, so it actually knows the triplicity system on top of the Chaldean system for Monomoria as well. And it gives you that delineation alongside the other one. So it's saying that combined rulership for the segment would be Jupiter Sun for diurnal charts or Jupiter for nocturnal charts. Yeah, that's, so just to recap real quick, it knows Monomoria, it knows 12 parts, decans, the bounds, exaltations, triplicity lords, domiciles, you name it. It knows it.
That's
outside of
cool.
dignity, though. Well, let me just, outside of dignities and stuff like that, right? What are some? Trying to think of a good question here. Some of the good what are some of the characteristics? And
we have some good questions coming in here. Can the Nechepso do Vedic astrology? We have not yet developed the Vedic data set yet, so that is not.
But it will.
But it will.
The plan.
The
plan
is
absolutely
yes, but not yet.
Just not yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff it's going to be able to do that it can't do yet because we are still working on it.
Different house systems, Jake asks.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
that's a piece of cake compared to what we're showing you.
Right. And Linda on YouTube says this is so Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, and we have definitely recognized that as well.
Yeah, we kind of decided months ago that we would show this to you guys on May 7th, so yeah.
Create charts in a big batch. Yeah. There's a lot of features about the software that we're not really discussing just yet. But that's one of the reasons why there will be a survey. Any suggestions?
Yes, I was just about to put that up now.
Flash it up.
If you look in your top left corner, there's a QR code to take our AI survey. I saw Evan, for instance, was just asking a really good question, or pointing out what Evan Keogh says. This is incredible, guys. The single biggest feature I want is the ability to create charts in a big batch. Can this convert a table of birthdays and locations into individual charts?
I can absolutely add a function for that.
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing, Evan. That's a fantastic suggestion. Because obviously even though we've thought of a lot, we're not going to think of everything. So please take the time, you and anyone else who have a wish list of things that you'd like to see our product do. By all means, please take our survey, scan that QR code, and fill out the questionnaire. And keep the feedback coming in, because I'd love to see if any of you can come up with something that Nechepso won't be able to do.
I do want to say though, I mean, like that's actually a really good suggestion that was just given right there. And if it's not, suggestions like that can help make the end product better, because it's still in development. We're still adding things. Real-time alerts for transits. That's already in there actually, but that's a good one too.
Yeah.
We actually already have that. Order a pizza. You know what? Maybe. I'll consider it.
It'll help you lose 10 pounds. Yeah. If you you can
it's
also
going to ask you if you have Venus square Jupiter or something like that.
Right. If you you can scan the QR code to take our AI survey, but you can also just go to nechepso.com. And it's just a very simple site. And on the front page, just scroll down, and the Google form is there for you to fill out and let us know what your thoughts are and what you're feeling about all of this stuff. So please scan the QR code, or just visit nechepso.com to take that survey, and we'll address some of these other questions here too. Anyway, sorry.
Share your hopes and share your fears, and share
your dreams.
Your dreams. Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah. So back to the demo. What are some characteristics and significations of someone born under the sign of Aries? I wanted to show you guys, it's not just, it doesn't just have like, dignity memorized or something like that. It knows a lot. In traditional astrology, Aries is characterized by its elemental fire quality and tropical cardinal quadruplicity. It gives an entire list of all these very real Aries attributes and significations. So it's got a lot of depth to it. I kind of feel like we spent a lot of time on the
we got some great questions here.
Would Nechepso be able to do rectifications? That is correct. We actually have a whole thing put together how we're going to do that. That is something that it will be able to do.
Oh wow, the questions are so good here.
Okay, yeah, all of that stuff. Actually, the helmsman of the chart. Like I said, I wrote a lot of the traditional astrology stuff into the data. It knows. It can identify the predominator. You can actually specify, hey, what's the Paulus way to do the predominator, and it knows it. It can do the Lord of the Nativity, Master of Nativity, all that stuff.
It contains aspect doctrine as well. We had a prior question from Dulcinea about maltreatment and
bonification, maltreatment,
so
all that. It's familiar with all the concepts. So speaking of concepts, I'm gonna get away from signs real quick. I would like to know
everything you guys are asking. The answer is almost all of it's kind of on the yes
zodiacal
side.
Releasing, yes. Declination cycles, yes. Are we planning a one-time fee for this or subscription-based payment? We'll be talking about that in a bit.
We'll talk about that. We'll have to get back to some of these questions. We want to make sure we get through the demo.
Yeah. All right. Good.
Sorry, I get sidetracked reading.
Sorry,
John.
Let
me zero in on this. All right. So, how would you characterize the claim that whole sign houses didn't exist in Hellenistic astrology? This is a hot topic, or it has been. How would you characterize the claim that whole sign houses didn't exist in Hellenistic astrology?
You're going to spook the horse, John.
Oh, Lord. What does Nechepso think about this? I am just curious to see. The claim, it says it's simply false. No, he didn't hold any punches back on that. All right.
Gee, Nechepso, why don't you tell us what you really think?
It's come down definitively on one side of that.
So
of that.
Well, it is trained on traditional as of right now. So it does. That's why it keeps. Yeah, let me point that out too. You'll notice that in its answers, it is saying in traditional astrology, because that is the current demo we're doing is on the traditional part of the data. It will also have modern. It will have like a synthetic sort of view where it blends modern and traditional together. And this, you will essentially, and this will extend to Vedic. Let me put that in there too. But essentially, you will specify your preference. Do you want it to just be a modern delineation, or a traditional, or a mix, or do you want, or do you practice Vedic astrology? Whatever your preference is, that is where,
midpoints, Eberton, sort of cosmobiology will be
yeah,
doing,
that's
planetary synodic cycles, you name it.
yeah,
But
that's
guys, it's not just going to know this stuff; it's going to be able to kind of apply it in
Exactly.
individual cases, and so it's going to be able to make connections in a similar way that people can, and it's really, the possibilities are just mind blowing.
What is the meaning of a lot of fortune? Let's just see what it says real quick.
Bated breath.
In traditional astrology, the lot of fortune is a pivotal point in a birth chart. You don't say. Calculated from the positions of the sun, the moon, and the ascendant. Yeah, so let you guys kind of look through this. You can see it talks about how the placement of fortune within the chart, and aspects it forms, the condition of its domicile ruler, all contribute to a nuanced understanding. Yeah, it's a pretty good detailed answer that it gives on a pretty general question. That's not really, like, I didn't word that specifically at all, but it gave a bit of detail there. So let's see. What's another traditional principle we could talk about? Can you tell me what sect is? And let me specify. The other one was kind of, I wasn't too specific. So, and how it is used in traditional astrology. See what we got. Fixed stars. Okay, that's I'll throw one at it here in a second. Okay, in traditional astrology, sect is a vital concept that divides charts into diurnal and nocturnal categories based on the sun's position relative to the horizon. Well, I guess it understands sect, so that's another check mark. I saw someone say something about fixed stars. So, what is the influence of the fixed star Regulus? That's a popular one. What is the influence of the fixed star Regulus? Let's see what it says. Stellarium kind of features are actually something we plan on having as well. Actually, there.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say too much, but one of the features takes that concept and does something really, really cool with it.
Really special.
So, the influence of the fixed star Regulus in astrology is deeply connected to, here you go. Breaks down the fixed star Regulus for you. Traditionally regarded as a symbol of Mars and Jupiter's combined energies, it is actually referring to the Ptolemy class. So there's that. Good fixed star example. Let's try something else though.
That's really good.
I am trying to, and I saw someone ask about zodiacal releasing. So I am trying to understand my zodiac. Oh, wow, I can't spell again. Zodiacal releasing. How do I identify a peak period? This is a good question. That's pretty specific. Let's see what we got. All of that stuff will be actually, Jake. One of the things I thought about was as far as the fixed stars or asteroids, I should say, is almost like you could set like a 5-minute orb, really, really tight to your planets, and just do a search of all of the asteroids and see which ones are like exactly on your points, rather than having to like go through and find the names of the individual aspects. Kind of reversing that search, making it easier to see what's exactly on your points. I thought that was something that I thought could be pretty useful.
Okay, what's really hilarious about this answer that it gives about zodiacal releasing, though, is I put in literally the exact same question into ChatGPT, and it does not mention the most critical component of a peak period, which is that it's a sign which is in the same mode or quadruplicity as the lot of fortune.
So let's see what this answer says. To identify a peak period within the zodiacal releasing framework, it's essential to look for the signs that share the same quadruplicity as the lot of fortune, indicating a direct angular connection. That's correct. This connection is a hallmark of peak periods, signaling moments of heightened significance. Notice that it said significance and not, good times or anything like
Or
that.
bad, yeah.
Additionally, quickly identifying signs housing the sex benefic and the opposing sex malefic provide clear markers for distinguishing between potential high points and more challenging phases. So not only does it tell you how to identify zodiacal releasing peaks, it actually tells you, hey, if you want to see the condition, here's a quick something you can look at on top of that to kind of help you in your own delineation. Will it answer relationship aspects? Yes, there's an entire thing in the data that we're doing that is specifically on synastry, composites, multi-chart analysis and all that stuff. That's all going to be included. So yeah, okay. Well, it knows zodiacal releasing. Let's try a different something here. Can you tell you? I'm sure it can. Can you tell me what Ferdaria is? Another simple question, just kind of throwing it at it. The point, I'd like to think by this point in the demo, the people watching right now, you guys kind of all realize that there's nothing that exists like this for astrology currently. This is
This is brand spanking new.
No one has been able to develop AI that is this accurate to this extent. But we believe,
and it's come from some man hours, some
Right.
tedious work, and and not without some financial risk, that we've all taken in moving away from our regular sort of ways of earning an income. We've really kind of laid our chips on the line here. We're really we just really realize the magnitude and importance of this work, and how much it matters to get it done. So this is kind of what's possible, and there's so much more that will be possible with the full development of this AI, as well as the software that will be a feature of. So go ahead, John.
Yeah, I was going to say, right here, I asked it about Ferdaria, and it explains, it divides an individual's life in distinct periods governed by planets. It talks about the Chaldean order. It mentions how the lunar nodes are added in there in the smaller segments, and uses the mirror of the 7 classical planets. So yeah, you could actually ask it more specific stuff about Ferdaria, but right now I'm trying to kind of go through different things so you can just kind of see the depth of its knowledge here
and breadth.
Yeah. What about perfections? That's another popular one. How are those used in traditional astrology? Curiosity. Let's see.
Ariana asks on YouTube, so when and how can we invest? That's a good question.
In traditional astrology,
We
perfections are
will be coming for your money.
That activates specific signs or houses for a set period, blending the thematic elements of the house, the interpretations of any planets within that sign, and the influence of the house's ruler into a cohesive narrative that uniquely marks the period. This approach skillfully combines the natal chart's inherent structures with the ongoing transit movements of planets, either located in or presiding over the activated sign. A critical aspect of this practice includes analysis of the Lord of the Year to forecast annual trends by evaluating its current state. Additionally, when the Lord of the Year resides in a different sign than the one being perfected, there's an interplay of meanings between both houses involved. I mean, it gives a very detailed answer.
That's a very good answer.
On how to analyze perfections, as you guys see. We'll move on.
John, Behavens is asking, she says releasing the bond, but I think she must mean loosing from the bonds in ZR, which is a more complicated variation in ZR.
Yes, it knows, but that's in there. I 100%. Yeah,
so
it can tell you, anything dealing with any of these techniques I'm bringing up. It's been trained to the T on all of them. So.
Ursula has a great question here from YouTube. She asks, can it suggest good elections for different purposes for my local time?
Yes,
And I think it will absolutely be able to both assist you in like judging
that's part of
different
the
options.
personal module.
Yeah, suggesting them.
The way the software and let me I guess I should probably bring this up because we've referenced it a few times. The way the software is set up is, we wanted it. Well, number one is, yes, Astro Maps, locational astrology, that will be in there. There's actually going to be a whole module for that. There's different modules for different purposes, obviously. Maps, relocations, all that stuff is going to be one of the things. But ours is going to be a bit more advanced than that. And that ties back into what somebody else said earlier about Stellarium and being able to look at things. So, like I said, we're not going to get too much into that. But essentially, the way the software is set up is there are multiple modules, and each module has a specific function or specific functions that it's able to do. And our goal with the modules was to make each individual module so immersive that it could probably be its own software program. There's a personal module, which, once again, unlike other softwares, which are just kind of, you put in random things, we want our software to be personal to you. And we have a whole module dedicated to this, where it looks, it can help you with elections or any of that stuff. Horary, of course. That's another thing that we have yet to write for the AI, but there will be an entire horary section added as well. So whenever, you hear us say the personal module, I want you to think of, something that comes up and it's all these features that it can help you personally versus, the workspace module, which would be what you would generally associate with things like Solar Fire, pulling up charts and all that other stuff.
For the astrological professional and for the advanced astrology student and the, astrological enthusiast.
And there are multiple modules, but, I'm not going to go into too much detail on that stuff. And the one thing I also want to say is we want it to look fantastic visually. And that has been a very big emphasis on our side, is making it look great. And we don't want it to look like, Windows 98 or anything like that. So
it's going to belong to it's going to look futuristic. It's going to belong
it's going to look it looks very good too. All right, so back on the demo. Got sidetracked there for a second. So we talk about the signs. Will you be feeding it books? No, we're not feeding it books. We're putting the data in manually. There is no feeding. There is no using copywritten material. All of this stuff is done organically. So there's no worries in that regard.
For any authors that we are quoting, we are reaching out to those, or we already have reached out and gained written permission to use certain quotations, because certain astrologers just put it so well, couldn't restate it.
Even the people that we did get permission from, we still didn't actually just take their work and train the model on what they wrote. It was more so the concepts we wanted it to train on. The way that they have already described these concepts is just so good. I wouldn't want to do it any other way. But also they need to have, we had to reach out and make sure we got permission from said people to make sure, everyone was on the same page, which has in fact happened. So, all right, let me look at houses now. That's something we touched a little bit on, the whole sign houses. So what can you tell me about the third house? And, typo. Third house and its significations. Third house. This is a very special place out here. The third house.
Underrated house for sure.
It's ironic that me and you both say that.
Definitely underrated.
So let's see.
Yeah, let's see what it says.
Third house, known as the place of goddess, is the first cadent house following the ascendant. Its interpretation is nuanced with a range of significations, including siblings, close relatives, friends. Let's see, it covers all forms of communication. So it's listing all these different things. But then historical astrological figures such as Hermes, Trismegistus, Vettius Valens, Paulus of Alexandria, Abu Mashar, and Al-Biruni have contributed to its meanings. So once again, like I said, it has been trained on history, and it kind of flexes its history muscle right there, listing some of the historical authors who have written about the significations of the third house.
Jay Cotero says on YouTube, how about a daily summary of stuff or suggestions? Like, hello,
Yes,
Jake. Today you're
that is-
going retrograde and you're entering a
That
peak
is
period. And yes, you are.
actually a
Personal.
feature in the personal feature that we're calling the daily snapshot. That is something that exists.
I also really appreciate this comment from Thenia on YouTube. She says, I'm so happy you are creating this. Someone would soon make such software, and it's a bliss that your astrology knowledge and understanding is behind this. I actually do feel a bit of that pressure and almost responsibility to do this, because we've already seen so many projects pop up that are like purely oriented around getting as much money as possible,
Cash
and
grabs.
they're just cash grabs, and like we're not interested in that. Like they're less than useless if they aren't being done like by astrologers for astrologers with astrologers' welfare and interests in mind. And that is like a huge part of our approach to this, is kind of doing it the hard way and the right way. And obviously, while it's a business, and while we would love to be financially compensated for the work that we've done, our goals are not just business and capitalism, right? We are trying to make
we
something
could
to help
probably
people.
expand on that a little bit before the end of the stream, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of, so right now we're going through this demo because
Yeah.
it is very important for you guys to see just how great this AI is, and for you to understand why Patrick and Nick have had to do the things that they've had to do recently, which kind of had everybody wondering. So but after we get through some of this stuff, then there's still a good bit of stuff that we should talk about, and we'll touch on all that stuff. So via combusta, that's more of a medieval concept, but once again, I've kind of been showing a lot of older stuff. Well, Fedora is too, but you can see traditional astrology via combusta, the burning way segment of the zodiac from 15 Libra to 15 Scorpio, marked by the falls of the sun and the moon. So it has a lot of very obscure knowledge. Can you tell me what phasis is? Let's see.
Phasis. The emphasis. I guess that's probably related etymologically.
Probably. Okay, in traditional astrology, phasis is a term that indicates when a planet is about to undergo a major visibility change, such as appearing or disappearing from view or beginning a retrograde motion. This term is rooted in Greek language, meaning a significant appearance or manifestation. Ancient astrologers considered such moments as highly significant. So, once again, this is another, kind of I'm not sure I would call this obscure, but it's absolutely specialized knowledge, without a doubt. And another something that's probably going to be popular. Can you list for me the 7 hermetic lots? It should know absolutely the 7 hermetic lots. See what we got. Okay. All right. In traditional astrology, the 7 hermetic lots are integral components that provide nuanced insights into various aspects of life. Each lot is named after and associated with one of the 7 visible planets, and it actually lists them. The lots include fortune, moon, spirit, sun. Okay, so it names all the 7 hermetic lots and tells you the planet associated specifically with said lot. So
fantastic.
Awesome.
I kind of feel like at this point, you guys probably get the picture here, right? We've gone through a lot. I mean, I'm going to scroll through this. We've gone through a lot of different questions about, a lot of things that I feel like people would want to see that it knows, from rulerships and all the different types of essential dignity, all the way through, actual technique related things, the delineations of signs and houses. I mean, this is a very detailed demonstration of what this thing can do. And it's only going to get better, because there's so much more data that has to be put into this.
Yes.
And yeah, I just, our point today behind this demonstration is, we figured it was time for everyone to kind of be as excited about this as we are.
It's been hard keeping this secret because it's just so amazing.
Yeah. No, it's a real thrill. There's a bunch of other stuff that, other sort of plans and features besides everything we've discussed today that we also have in mind for its development as we move along. So, we're really thrilled by everyone's enthusiasm, and we've just been dying to share it with you. So this has been terrific.
Should we?
What do we just? Yeah, shall we move on to our next part of the discussion?
Yes, we can go ahead and do that. Let me I'll stop sharing my screen.
All right.
Like I said, I feel like you guys got a pretty good idea of what's going on here now.
Right. And then just imagine too, when it's like hooked up to the ephemeris, we'll be able to make the same kinds of queries that I was able to make with just my piddly little script back in October. It'll just be able to do just such an incredible amount.
I do want to add that that was something that I was going to try to add to this today, was connecting the ephemeris to the Gradio demo, but turns out the Swiss ephemeris does not
like
comply
Google
with Google Colab notebooks. So, but that would have been something really cool we would have showed you too, if I would have got it to connect to my Colab notebook. But it didn't.
Now, so far, only 13 of you have scanned the QR code in the top left corner, right up here, to fill out our survey. There's a whole lot more of you watching. So if you have comments, questions, your feedback is really valuable to us. So either please go to nechepso.com and fill out the survey, or you can just scan this QR code and go to the website. And just takes a minute to fill out, unless you have a big paragraph of a wish list to send us. But your feedback is invaluable to us. And this is one of the reasons we're reaching out to you today. So if you're so inclined, please do.
Apple Calendar integration.
The reason we are, putting this survey out there is because we know that, while there's a lot to be excited about with AI and astrology, we also know that some people have concerns. And honestly, we've had those same concerns ourselves. And every step of the way with planning this, we've been trying to figure out how to do this ethically and responsibly and correctly, and to avoid some of the potential sort of pitfalls. We know that there's some even existential sort of angst about what this sort of means to be an astrologer with a tool that is this capable. But our vision is that this technology can be leveraged to help astrologers do more and ultimately create a new economy for astrologers. And so we want to know how you feel. We want to know what you're thinking about AI and astrology in general, but also we want to know what you'd want to see in this software and what you wouldn't want to see in this software. And all those questions are just in this short, 10 question survey. Just go to nechepso.com or scan the QR code.
One thing I would like to add to just the discussion overall is that, one of the things that we realized in this process was there is a sense of urgency behind doing this correctly and getting it done correctly, because there are groups, I should say, or even like, venture capitalist organizations who are just trying to throw money at this. And they, if it's up to them, they don't care what happens to people who practice astrology. They're just in this to get money out of the situation, because astrology is a as of 2022, the market cap for astrology apps is $2.5 billion, and they just want to get their
everyone
cut
wants
of
a
the pie,
taste,
right? So
yeah.
For us, it was very important to us to do this the right way and to make sure we could present what we just presented to you today, so you could see where we are with everything. But we also kind of want to be the staking the flag into the moon, if you will. Here, we realize the importance of trying to set the precedent for how this should be before, potentially another organization or someone else does this for the wrong reasons and in a way that can be detrimental to astrologers. So that's something that we put a lot of time and thought and consideration into as we've gone through this process.
And our complete answer to that question of how this helps astrologers, we haven't even touched what we've planned.
Well, Cindy Jensen is asking. Yeah, Cindy Jensen is asking, will this replace software? Yes, it will. Like SolarFire, we're aiming to make a product that's more advanced than SolarFire or anything
else that exists.
Anything else that's in that class.
Our product is the equivalent of the PS5 coming out and replacing the PS4. If that's a good analogy to follow.
For those of you to whom that analogy speaks, there you go.
Yeah, we want to go from cars to a UFO.
Or at least a horse carriage to a car.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Fantastic. Okay. Debbie Nestor is asking, can you put in multiple charts and analyze similarities between them? Yeah, well, there'll be a whole synastry feature. We've talked about that.
I see Nechepso predict my death. Actually, sorry, there's going to be a whole section on how to handle those sort of sensitive topics. So it will not predict your death. It might, if you persist, it might tell you, hey, this is where you can find the way to calculate the length of life technique, but it's not going to actually be like, hey, I think you're going to die on this day. So
it might be able to help you learn the techniques, but I don't know that we should let it apply them. Figure it out yourself.
Flash forward 75 years from now, and everyone knows exactly the date of their death. Because
I mean, I think we
things are better left to the imagination.
And we honestly, that's another thing that we want your feedback on in the survey is what concerns you have about the potential harm this technology can cause. And just to make sure that we're all on the same page, because we are certainly very aware of and concerned about that, and there are things that we can do to mitigate and prevent misuse and abuse or harm of our software, at least. So yeah, this is full on the future. And there may be a sense of hesitation, again, existential angst surrounding this, but we feel like we as astrologers need to get ahead of the curve and make sure that this is being done the right way instead of just pretending that this isn't happening. And so all of these things are kind of why we have just put so much effort into this.
I'm just reading.
Now, Danielle is saying, bro, knowing when I die will allow me to procrastinate getting life insurance for as long as possible. Yeah, but the insurance companies are going to have Nechepso, and they're going to know when you're going to die. And so then they won't sell you life insurance because they're like, oh, no, Danielle's going down next Friday. We're not selling her life insurance.
Behaven suggests rather than predicting death, maybe it should suggest times you should be more careful. Just an idea. That's the kind of idea you should put in the survey, where it asks.
Actually, I was going to say that, just based on the technique itself, it's something that I didn't ask, but is already programmed into the AI currently, is it knows how to do the circumambulations through the bounds and all that stuff. So let me just add, that to another one of the obscure techniques that it is fully aware of and is able to do.
Well, and these are the kind of questions that we've had in studying Hellenistic astrology and just astrology in general, that we kind of have come up against this wall that we can't get past without something like Nechepso to be able to take us across it, which is to be able to do kind of cross comparisons of all the various Time Lords that are in effect to be able to give you a more nuanced picture, because you might see like a kind of bad Time Lord period according to one technique that maybe makes you really anxious. But if that's like the only one that indicates that kind of thing, and like according to a whole host of other Time Lord techniques, it looks okay, it may be able to give you kind of a more nuanced perspective on what
Measured
these
answer. Yeah.
periods sort of mean, and then you're not putting too many eggs in one basket, as it were, by just paying attention to like just one technique. That you'll be able to kind of have this never before possible sort of bird's eye view of all of the different activations that are kind of happening, and be able to just be able to do this in a way that no one has been able to, just due to the limits of our own computational ability as people, as meat brains. And
even like
bodies.
if you're an astrologer who uses like Zoom or something like that, one of the things that I'm likely going to add into the workspace module is you'll be able to sign in and do your Zoom calls directly in the software. And that would actually allow for instant AI analysis. Like you could be like, hey, Nechepso, can you make a transcript of this consultation? And it'll be able to do that in real time as the consultation goes on, and even help you during your consultation if you are an astrologer. So there's so many possibilities that this opens up with, having this sort of assistant available in all these different areas, and can do so many things.
It'll be trained on all of the software's functions as well. So, and actually, we've even picked a voice of Nechepso, so you can actually speak with Nechepso.
Yeah, it will
in real time.
You'll be able to talk to
you
it.
don't have to type it out. You can just talk directly with it.
And furthermore, the Nechepso will make a really excellent research tool for research astrologers, which obviously is something I'm particularly excited about. And there's kind of a two-way street here, because we're teaching Nechepso astrology, but we're also really, really interested in what Nechepso can teach us about astrology. So there's other sort of research possibilities that we can use with Nechepso, to have it in much the same way that, for instance, artificial intelligence playing chess has come up with new moves in chess that didn't exist, that no person has ever conceived of. That in the same vein, Nechepso might be able to literally lead to some innovations in astrology, or some insights that have not been, that no one's clued in on.
Yeah, I mean,
so
it could create a whole different form of astrology.
Exactly.
Because its ability to recognize patterns will exceed what a person can, and this is sort of what becomes possible with this technology. And it's just I think it's I've been working with it kind of day in, day out, so I'm kind of like, sometimes I lose appreciation for just how the sort of magnitude of all this really just how really truly insane this all is. But when you step back a bit and you really consider the place where we're at, and where this can go, you really do just have to kind of stand back in awe at the possibilities. I mean, this is just textbook Jupiter Uranus, right? But
yep.
Just to add on what Nick said, that's actually one of the modules in the software. There is an entire research module for these purposes. So
So a lot of people asked about, like, when can we buy this? Take my money now, please. What can we say about that? And what can we say about timelines and things like that?
Okay, so I'll say this. The software will come out this year, 100% for certain, and it's going to come out, I would say, at the latest. The deadline I would give myself, I would say it would be the end of September at the latest. So we're talking within the next few months, but likely sooner than that. So it's coming quickly. Aside from that, though, there are other things in the pipeline, as I suggested a lot. And there will be, I believe, I could probably say that we'll have another announcement in the first week of June. What
Yeah,
that
first week
is,
of
I'm
June.
not going to get into any more detail other than that, but the first week of June, we will have another announcement.
Yeah, we'll do another one of these.
Probably, it potentially could be, bigger than this one as far as
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I can't
What
go
could be
into
bigger than this
Could be
one,
bigger
John?
than this. Yeah, I know. Like,
it's,
but I mean, it is pretty.
it'll connect
huge.
a lot of dots. I'll say that.
Yeah,
Things will
yeah.
kind of start to make sense. And as far as how I saw someone ask if it was going to be a subscription or if it was going to be a fee. This is actually something that we've grappled with, how we want to approach this. And we realized that, basically all the astrology softwares that are out there, we're not going to sell out to anybody.
We're not selling out.
We all kind of made that pact in the beginning.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we realized was, all the astrology softwares that are out there, you basically pay this flat fee for. And a lot of people, they want to do that. But we feel like that kind of, doesn't make it as accessible for other people who don't want to pay. Like, for instance, other softwares cost anywhere from $360 to $550. Some people just don't want to shell out that much money. So we're going to have an approach that's going to allow people to buy it outright for a set period of time. But, we're still putting all this together. That way, if you don't want to pay month to month, you don't have to. But when it's released, it's likely going to be a month-to-month subscription. But as I said, we're not trying to, I should say, we're trying to give everybody the opportunity to get it the way that they prefer to get it. Right.
If you like having a month-to-month, that option will be available.
Yeah.
And I can understand the appeal sometimes of that, but then I also understand the perspective of wanting to just own the thing. Can't I own it? Do I have to get another subscription? We hear
Right.
you. That option is going to be available, but for a limited time. So, Behaven says, might you create an election chart for your launch? Yeah.
Well, yeah.
The best we
when
can.
the time comes, we want to complete the work. You don't want to set an electional chart and then you're racing against a deadline. I mean, we're working hard, but we also want to do it right, and we want to do it properly. And
investment
options. I wish I had a good answer to that. I mean, I feel like if you want to help support the project, like maybe...
I thought he was talking about maybe investment options as far as like financial astrology or something.
Well, there will be a whole financial astrology.
Yeah. That might be another module. Who knows?
Yeah, that might be another module. Yeah. John, does have a whole history of being a very prolific coder on TradingView and has a background in finance as his other life. He's had several lives.
Yeah.
So
honestly, I'm lucky.
We are
I'm
the
lucky
beta
to be here.
testers, Evan.
But I mean, as far as when you gave me my introduction, the stuff about Rob, there's one thing I did want to say is that I was able to tell him basically what I'm working on, and I was able to express to him that I wouldn't probably be sitting here doing this at all if it wasn't for him. So I just want to throw that out there in case he sees this. Once again, extending my gratitude to him.
Salute to you, Mr. Hand.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But I have already told him that.
Dr. Hand now? Is it Dr. Hand? Should I forget if it's he got his master's. Maybe it's not doctor. Okay.
But as far as I'm familiar with financial. I can code in every financial language for softwares. That's actually what the thing that Patrick said was, hey, we got to, build this thing because there's so many things we want to do that we can't do with current software. And that's quite literally how I got into coding, in the first place in finance was I was like, I have to create this because it doesn't exist. And then I taught myself, one language, and then it just kind of snowballed, and, here we are.
I want to address Ariana's follow-up comment. She says, investments, totally a good module for those starving astrologers. Believe me, I know. I've been on Medicaid. I have been on food stamps. I've been at the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
of,
me too.
level of survival. I absolutely appreciate and understand what it's like to just not have enough. We can't tell you everything today, but what I can say is that I think we've come up with some novel ways to, like I said, create a new economy and new forms of monetization for astrologers. And it's not all based around just this one technology. There's a few approaches that we've taken to figure out how to provide more money making avenues and opportunities for astrologers. So that obviously will have to come for a later time, but we are thinking about that. We've really, we are absolutely, sensitive and aligned with you on that.
Well, the other
some
thing too
things.
is the monthly subscription cost. We haven't we're not going to put it out there right now, but it is extremely affordable, and the reason why we've decided to take that route is because we feel that it is important for people who don't have a ton of money to be able to access something like this, and that's why we also doing it that way. We wanted to make it more accessible for people who might not be able to put together a large sum of money all at one time. So all of those things have been weighed and considered in this process. So I wanted to add that. I see Aswin says something about medieval mundane module. One of the things actually about the mundane is I'm actually in the process of putting together a script for the software where I'm not sure if I'm going to have it like going over Twitter or what, but I want to create an automatic mundane chart generator where the moment that a headline it comes out, it scans, it takes the timestamp and scans for the location, and you'll have this, a folder where that you can go to, and it'll create event charts for you, and you can decide, oh, I want this one, I don't like, so there's a lot of really cool features.
Automating data collection, basically.
Yeah. But mundane is something that we hadn't really discussed yet, so I wanted to add that in there because that is something that we are considering. Beta testers,
Definitely.
yes, there will be beta testers.
And look, and another thing I want to mention too is obviously all of this sounds like crazy ambitious, and we don't have a lot of time before we want to be able to have this in front of you to use. But this is not like a done project. Like once we release it, it's not like that's it. We will be continuing to work on this and update it and make it even better. And that's kind of the deal. Like this is not just a one and done thing. It's going to we want to improve it and make it the absolute best amazing thing
It's going to grow over time.
The top shelf, yeah. The gold standard.
We're not going to let it get deprecated. I'll let my comment there. We're not going to let it get deprecated. We're going to stay on top of this. But that's another important thing. It's like Patrick said, you're not just wanting to put something out and be like, oh, there it is. Hope you like it. This is going to be a constant thing to make sure that we can provide the absolute best experience that we possibly can. That's one of the reasons why we know we're going to need beta testers is because, it's not going to be perfect in the beginning. Sometimes I would imagine there's going to be bugs. There's going to be things that happen as with any new software when it first comes out. But, everybody can rest assured that we're going to be on top of it without a doubt. Like, I plan on having automatic updates, and not only with the software, but let's say we update the AI model to a better model, or we improve its training or something. I would like, to have all of that stuff be able to update automatically. Certain options, like if you have enough computer space, for instance, and let's say you want to, upon installation, you're like, you know what? I want all the asteroids, every last one of them. It's going to show you, hey, this is how many gigabytes it is if you want it, right? But, or you could just get a certain list. Like a lot of options will be available. But yeah, this venture is something that's, quite obviously never been done before, especially not to this extent. And whenever you guys see what some of these other announcements are that we have coming up, shortly, you're really
I
going to
hope
be
you're ready.
Yeah, I hope you're
Yeah,
ready.
geez, when I'm thinking about the stuff we're not telling them, oh
Yeah, this is
boy.
icing.
Yeah,
This is just the icing on the cake, really. Like,
it
hey,
is.
we got,
It is.
yeah.
Now, actually, there is one other announcement though that we actually do need to make, and I guess I should handle this because I am sort of involved in it to some extent. Although
Oh,
I'm kind
yeah.
of in I'm kind of
No,
in a strange
you're
spot.
cut.
The historic
You're the one who's not
significance.
involved in it.
Basically, as you know, I'm the president of CAPASAW. CAPASAW is the certification branch of ISAR, the International Society for Astrological Research. So the certification branch is the branch of ISAR that deals with certification of astrologers. So if you want to become a certified astrological professional at CAP, then you have to take the competency exam, which is a very difficult, rigorous, challenging 6-hour exam, which I took and passed. And you also have to take training in ethics awareness and an exam and pass ethics awareness. And you also have to participate in like a 3-day consulting skills training. So this is just one of these like certification programs, but it's from ISAR, which was the kind of premier international astrology organization. Now, in line with our goal in making sure that this technology develops responsibly in the astrology community, we have officially submitted a formal request of ISAR and CAPASAR to develop an astrological AI benchmark so that they would basically go into the business of certifying in the same way that they certify astrologers, that they meet a certain standard. We think that anyone putting out an astrological AI product should reach a high standard of ethical
Passing the
awareness, of competency and accuracy and calculation, and in consulting skills and ethical awareness. So this is kind of a huge deal because we're essentially asking them to
Historic.
kind of certify astrological AIs in a sense. But we think that this is something that should be handled by an international astrology organization. And honestly, as the president of CAPASAR, I feel like I'm in a slightly strange position here because I have a slight conflict of interest here, right? So I've recused myself from all actual involvement in the decision about it. But what I'm hoping will happen is that ISAR will see and CAPASAR will see that developing a benchmark, a test for astrological AIs is something that will prevent bad actors from just simply putting a wrapper around a GPT model and just calling it a day and collecting
Calling
some
it
money.
AI when it's
When it's
telling you a million different things that have no factual foundation. The thing I would add on this about the benchmark, I'm sure not everybody is familiar with machine learning and all that stuff. So this is the standard approach in the AI machine learning community. If you make a medical AI model, there is a medical benchmark that the model takes and the score is recorded. And the reason why they do this is it allows the people who use these products to know publicly, hey, it's at this level, it's this good, it can do these things, right? And the main, I guess, the gold standard of LLMs is a test called the MMLU, and it's essentially this multiple choice test that is very rigorous. It goes over so many different fields of study, and I think like even right now the best models in the world, they score like an 86 on it. Essentially, what we've requested is for the ISAR to create a MMLU styled benchmark test to make sure people can't just put out and say, "Oh, I have an astrology AI," and it could actually harm the astrological community. if people, let's say, it's people who don't know a whole lot about astrology, they go to use this thing and it's like so wildly inaccurate, you're talking about damaging the reputation of astrology as a whole. This is very important. And I really hope that they do consider this very seriously, not only because of the reasons we just mentioned, but there's also an immense opportunity for them as an organization here. The fact of the matter is AI is not going anywhere. There will have to be a benchmark created at some point. There are benchmarks for essentially every field of study out there that you can make an AI for already. And someone's going to end up having to do this. So to me, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Right. And, if not ISAR, then it would, this could be developed by NCGR or AFA, or, we just think that this is something that should be like an organization, community wide type of initiative to develop a standard. Because then it would probably prevent, say, some random person who maybe doesn't believe in astrology or accept it's valid or whatever, just from making a crappy little AI and trying to sell it. Instead, like if customers and if astrologers generally, in the community were aware that, like, oh, you mean your app doesn't have the cap, like it doesn't have the CAPASA certification, like,
you're selling me a carton of milk without a due date. What are you doing?
like oh, you're trying to do this without like having met this benchmark. Like, this isn't worth me downloading it. It should be like a badge, basically that says, this astrological LM, meets this standard, and we think that will help
have a standard.
Yes, we think that will help prevent the proliferation of bad actors and of the harm, but potential harm that these things could do. So we are submitting our own
astrology.
Yeah, so whenever this is developed, we would absolutely want to submit Nechepso AI to that same kind of a standard of rigor. And the only reason we would do this is because we care about doing this right. I mean, no one's done this before yet, but I assume they have good intentions, maybe. But I mean, this is the reason this is happening is because we're astrologers doing this. We're not just venture capitalists trying to make a buck here. We are trying to. I mean, in some ways, it's selfish in that, like, I want to use this software now.
Like, we're like the rest of you guys. Like, you think you guys are excited? We're dying to use this.
I've been wanting to use something like this for years. It will just I want this to exist. And because I want to use it. I want to be a customer. Like, I want to be an owner of this software. So in that way, it's selfish. But on another level, I'm also kind of like, this isn't just a group of people. This isn't just like some demographic I'm going to conquer. These are my friends. These are my colleagues. These are people I look up to, respect. I have no interest in screwing them over. Like, I want this to, protect astrologers and to help astrologers and to protect the public from bad astrology. And so, anyway,
one thing I should add also, because it has come up in the chat in reference to our AI that we've built. One of the things that I requested in our official letter that was sent to CAPASAR and ISAR is that they verify the data used to create these AI. We think that having some sort of system that allows the verification of the data used to create, it would prevent people from stealing the copywritten works of other people to create stuff or using things without permission and all of that. So that's another important thing that we have added into our request to ensure that things are all done with a certain ethical standard, as well as just an accuracy level standard as far as the information that it gives.
So if if you share these kinds of concerns, please, again, take the survey, scan the QR code, go to nechepso.com, and it's on the front page. Just scroll down and it's right there. Google form. It's just
Takes a
10
few
questions.
minutes.
10 questions. It will help us know that we're on the same page and what other things we need to be aware of that we haven't thought of already. We want to know your concerns about this. We also want to know your hopes for this and what you would want to see. And so, please fill that out. If you want to influence the direction of how this goes, please fill out that survey. It'll be open, probably till launch. So that.
And also with suggestions, get creative as you want.
Yeah,
because if I see something that I think is really cool, I might just do it. Especially like
Right
challenging stuff. I like I like the challenge sometimes. But putting stuff together.
Gotta say, John is known for his speed.
We call him Speedy Gonzalez.
He's known for his speed. Like, there's a tendency where if you mention something to him, it'll like quickly become a reality in a way sooner than you might have expected. I don't want to put him, pressure on him, but like John is, an incredible worker. Just a truly heroic effort on all our parts.
I have suspect he's an advanced AI model himself, come from the future to help us with this this important project.
I am the Nechepso. From Skynet.
Although we are all Nechepso, like, because we're all kind of pouring our brains and souls into this.
Lives works.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything I know is going in this.
Yeah.
Everything. Interestingly enough, though, I actually wrote majority of the traditional astrology stuff in there. So I hope, the whole time we were doing that, I was like, under this sort of pressure because these guys are the, professional astrologers. So
yeah, I mean, I'll be checking through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And adding to it here and there. Yeah.
I think it came out pretty good.
For sure. And there's so much more still that has to be done. And I'm just hoping we can get it done in time.
Too. If there's a certain area of study that you think that the AI should be trained on, that's something else you could add as a suggestion. I can actually say what we're looking at already, just to kind of, so there's no like duplicates, or you guys understand where the direction we're already going. What is John? Oh, okay. I'll give. I saw that asked already too. I can give my chart information before I get off here. So yeah, we're looking at like as Nick said about the synodic cycles and non-subjective information, scientific fact related to astronomy, all that stuff. We're looking at adding the history, which there's already a lot of that in there. Philosophy, mythology, ethics, social skills, how to answer the hey, when am I going to die questions in an ethically ethic way
culture studies, just studies of trends, all kinds of different things that can be viewed studied in a cyclical context. So yeah, you name it. I've been acquiring a big library of books that we want to sort of educate Nechepso with, and so at some point we'll be doing that as well. It'll keep growing, and eventually we'll have this really intelligent machine that can do astrology, but also knows a lot about the world.
And then, like we said earlier, we have it trained on traditional, but we're adding modern. There's going to be a synthetic version that blends modern and traditional together. We do need to add Vedic, but we still need to find someone that's able to write that for us.
I have an idea.
Okay.
Might have an idea.
We plan on adding Uranian and cosmobiology, like midpoint stuff and all that. I believe Nick's going to help us with that.
Yep.
multiple chart analysis is one of the things. Like I said, synastry, composites, predictive methods, the different types of returns, arcs, transits, progressions, horary astrology, electional astrology, mundane astrology, financial astrology, and then on top of all that, also interpretations. Like, it's one thing to teach it facts, but it also needs to understand how to interpret. And so we'll actually end up having interpretations for all of the things we mentioned, including advanced delineations. Like, it's not like, you go on a something and it's like, oh, your sun's in the first house. This is what it means. Like, we want this thing to be able to really reach down into the depths, and look at, oh, your sun, it's in a cadent house, but its ruler is in an angular house, and this is their relationship, and they rule, just whatever your imagination can take you with that. We do plan on adding advanced delineations into the training data, so it does understand how to do that. We're going to do a little deeper dive on the lots. We also plan on adding, focus on the decans and how they're related to tarot, as well as a little bit of stuff on numerology and how that's tied into everything too. Plus, we're going to train it on all the different functions of the software. So it'll be already, whenever you go to use it, it's already familiar with how to perform all the functions and everything else. But if you need it to do something in the software, like, hey, make me a chart, it'll be able to do that. Can it be used in different languages? Yes. And no. I
have to admit,
it's capable of being used in different languages, because our base model that we're using is actually able to, I think it's like 30 languages that is at its pre-training, but we would have to kind of take our data and transition it over. But yes, we will be able to do that. And obviously, we don't want this to be just a purely English thing. We want this to be available to as many people as it can be available to.
I mean, that's something that's happening alongside what we're doing, is that artificial intelligence is offering a lot to language translation in general. I mean, there's a lot of advances just in the last few months in terms of what AI can do in that regard. So that might be something that we don't necessarily have to do a lot to develop, but that, that we can take existing translation AI and apply it to what we're doing.
Sorry. So that's a lot. I imagine that's a lot for everyone, but I mean, that's kind of where we are currently at with, if you can believe it, more, on the pipeline, further down the pipeline. But that's what we've been working on. That's what we're trying to do. And that's
what we're going to do.
Not just an abstract thing. It already exists. It's being built, and we're building it in the different ways that we can. So that is that's it. So
that's that.
Is there anything else we want to add before we close out here, John?
Just remind folks one more time to take our survey. Please scan
survey,
the
for sure.
QR code and do take the survey.
I did, like I said, I wanted to go through some of the stuff that we kind of already had an idea of what we were going to put into AI, so people could kind of get an idea, and then if they think that it should be trained in something else that we haven't thought of, adding that to their survey when they scan the QR code, on top of just any software related stuff. As far as is that it? I think we pretty much covered everything we wanted to cover without revealing too much of the other things.
Right.
So, but yeah, first week of June. That's the next step.
Yeah, that's the next big announcement. But so just another month.
Yeah, hang in there. You've waited this long. Close your eyes and count, and it'll be June in no time.
I guess there's no way for me to type a reply into the comments.
you can respond to them.
Oh, okay.
But
I was gonna for people who are curious about my my birth chart.
Oh, I can type it
oh,
in there.
Okay, it's well. Go ahead, Nick. You can just give me my birth chart
It's
information.
okay.
It's
Let me look.
it's well. My regular birth time is 5:35 a.m. Columbia, Maryland, December 20th, 1985. But I use a slight variation of that. But that's my, that's what's on the old certificate, if you will.
Okay. Yeah, there you are. December 20th, 1985. You said 5:35 is what you just said in Columbia, Maryland?
5:35 a.m. The time that I use,
5:35 a.m. in Columbia, Maryland. Yeah, I have the time that you use, but
the time I use is a few seconds before that because I have my reasons. But yeah,
Jessica.
that's my.
Jessica says on YouTube, ask the AI to tell you. We would, but Google Colab didn't want to cooperate with Swiss Ephemeris. But yeah, you absolutely would be able to do that.
Yeah, I tried to put it on there, but it was being too much of a pain. And then you get so close to the demo, it's just like, well, we still got all this stuff we could show. That would have just been icing on the cake, really. So
yeah. As it is, we've given you guys a whole lot of cake and a whole lot of icing. So and there's more to come. There's more to come.
And the ice
just
cream's on the way.
digest that, and take the survey. And that's honestly the biggest way that you can help the project, and everyone can do that. So thank you so much for joining us for this special episode of the Astrology live stream. And we're not
Patrick
fully back yet, but
no. The day will come when Patrick and I come back to live streaming regularly. We're both quite eager to do it. We don't know when it'll be. Obviously, it'll be when we're getting Nechepso off the ground. But just think, when Patrick and I come back to live streaming, we're going to be live streaming with Nechepso. So that's also the live stream is going to be some new level of astrology as well.
We're going to be able to do some crazy things.
We're going to be able to do some crazy things. So it really is worth taking the time off the live stream while we do this, because when we do come back, we're going to be coming back with this superpower.
Medical
Valiant Walker,
too.
great question. Medical astrology. That's definitely something we're talking about. I mean, we want to be all inclusive. So
add that in the survey.
Yeah, add it in the survey. So scan the QR code and let us know that that's what you'd like to see, and we'll definitely take it under consideration. All right.
The main thing I think, though, is at least now they understand why you guys are not doing the streams. So, but I think after seeing today, there's probably some appreciation for this vacancy.
It also helps if you still support the live stream on Patreon.
It does. It helps us. It helps us
a lot, because there's less money coming in, but so that does help. I do appreciate that. But
we're living on noodles here.
Do the survey, and that does help us.
All right. Well, without further ado, I want to thank everyone for turning up. This has been a really fantastic response, and a really really great to reconnect with everyone as well. Nice to do a one-off live stream, at least for the time being. I want to thank John and Patrick for everything that they've done, and for including me in this wonderful trio that we've got. Well, actually our team is growing, but for it's great to be part of the team and to be involved in something this monumental and something that I've been dreaming of back since the 20th century, when I was creating my database on SolarFire. I felt in my heart somehow intuitively that someday we would reach this position. So it's so exciting to be here, and we're really eager to talk to you again in early June, when we roll out the other stuff that we have to tell you that we still haven't even that we're still keeping from you and being all sort of coy about.
The AI might have been obvious, but the software y'all didn't see that coming, did you?
Yeah, we probably let that slip enough, but this next one, though, I really don't think I don't think they see it coming.
No. All right.
The next June. They definitely don't see that coming.
No.
All right.
They don't know. You guys have no idea. You have no idea. You've learned nothing today. All right.
Okay.
Survey. Thank you, John and Patrick. Thank you, everyone. Have yourselves a fantastic May 7th. Enjoy May 8th all the more, and we'll see you in June.